Hey guys, let me quickly share with you all 5 common mistakes that you can make when importing for the first time. Okay, let's say you just finish learning mini importation and you want to try out what you have learned, like you want to import your first items all by yourself without using an agent for the very first time. Here are 5 common mistakes that you can make as a first time importer in mini importation, and how you can avoid these mistakes. Okay, I'm not only going to share these common mistakes with you guys, but I am also going to share with you all how you can avoid these mistakes. Okay, so guys, before we proceed, kindly like this video, and also if you've not joined the family, subscribe to my YouTube channel to join the family, especially if you are interested in anything importation from any country. Okay, so let's get started. So the first common mistake that you can make is not adding your shipping address correctly. For example, you want to start importing using 1688 or Pinduoduo or whichever method that you want to import with. Okay, you should be very careful when adding your shipping address. Okay, make sure you enter the address correctly. For example, when you want to add your shipping address on Pinduoduo or 1688, it has an option for you to paste the address you've copied, your shipping company's address, to paste it, and it will be able to automatically enter all the details you need. All you just have to do is enter your name and your phone number, and that is all. So when if you did not enter your shipping address correctly, what you are going to experience is this: number one, after making payments, your supplier might take your item to that wrong shipping address that you've provided. Okay, and when this thing happens, it's going to be an additional expenses for you, because that means you have to let your supplier know that the address you provided was a wrong address, and they have to go and pick it for you and take it to your normal shipping address, which all these expenses you're the one that is going to pay for it. Okay, so during your first importation, make sure that you add your shipping address correctly. Cross check if you added your name. Even if your shipping company doesn't request you adding your name or your phone number, make sure that you add your name and your phone number when adding your shipping address. Okay, or when sending your shipping address to your supplier. Okay, let's say you're not importing with all these Chinese apps, like you're importing directly from a Chinese supplier, and you are using a shipping company. Make sure that when sending your shipping address to that supplier, that you added your name, that you send your name, the name that the supplier will write on that parcel, and your phone number. Okay, and your phone number, don't forget it. Don't ever make this type of mistake, because this will be the worst mistake you will ever make as during your first importation. Okay, the next mistake that you should avoid when importing your first item is that you should be very sure of the item that you want to import. Don't go and import any item just because you see someone importing that particular item, right? Make sure that you've done your research, you know the business you want to start, or you know what you have passion for, or what you want to start selling. Okay, do your proper research. Don't go and make the mistake of importing because Mr. A is importing this item. Now you feel you can also import that particular type of item, or maybe because your coach, the importation coach that you learned from, is importing this thing, is selling this thing. Now you also want to go do the same thing that your coach is doing. Don't do that mistake. After learning your mini importation, have that knowledge, then sit down, relax, and determine the type of items you want to be selling, the things you want to start importing. Make sure that it is something that you will easily sell. Make sure that it's something that you can easily sell. Okay, when you import it, that is the first mistake, because if you end up importing things that you cannot sell or you don't have passion for, if you make that mistake during your first importation, my dear, if you are not someone that actually wants to do this importation thing, you might lose interest along the line, because when you be seeing that first item you imported and you'll be like, it didn't sell out, so you just be discouraged. Okay, so do your proper research very well. Know what you want to sell, know the product you want to start selling or importing before you place your order for the first time. Okay, whether you're importing directly from a supplier or you're importing using all these Chinese apps, whether you're importing from China or any other country, or even Dubai or Bangladesh or even Vietnam, make sure you do your proper research. You know what you want to start selling. Okay, Then the next mistake that you might probably make during your first time of importing is not following up with the item you paid for. See, once you're done sourcing for your items and you make your payment, make sure you follow it up, follow the supplier up. If you're importing using all these Chinese apps, follow the Chinese apps up. Always check, make sure that the supplier has delivered. Okay, once you see a notification that the supplier has delivered, like for example on CCSS or Pindodo, you have the option of checking logistics. So once you check and the supplier has delivered, then all you have to do is to get. So once you get notification or you check and your supplier has delivered, all you have to do is to get your tracking number, okay, and send it to your shipping company. See, even if you're importing without these Chinese apps, like you're importing directly from a supplier in China, that supplier, the logistic company they are going to use from their store or from their warehouse, they are going to get a tracking number from that logistic company or whatever way they were going to send that item to your shipping company. So you have to request for the tracking number from them, so you're able to send it to your shipping company. Okay, please make sure you follow the items you've paid for, follow it up. Okay, as a first time importer, follow the items you've paid for up, okay, after making payment. So guys, make sure you always follow your items, like always. In fact, another most important reason why you should always be on the lookout once you've paid for those items is because sometimes an item you pay for might be out of stock, and you might not know when you paid for that item until maybe after payment and everything, and your supplier might not even tell you until they deliver that item. So always confirm, chat the supplier up, okay, so that if you've paid for that item and later on is out of stock, they'll be able to tell you on time, or even if they have delivered it. And just make sure you're communicating with your supplier is very important. Then the next mistake that you are likely to make as a first time importer is using a wrong shipping company. See, there are lots of shipping companies out there, but as a first timer, trying to import for the first time, make sure that you do your research properly on the shipping company that you want to use, okay? Because now as a first timer, you'll be so eager to get your item, and you need to use shipping companies that are quick to respond, that will always be there for you to reply to your messages, okay, so that even if you make a mistake as a first timer, they'll be there for you. They'll be able to help you to rectify that mistake. Okay, so avoid using a wrong shipping company. So how will you be able to get a good shipping company that works perfectly well for first timers? First, you need to ask for recommendation from importers that have been there, okay, like people that have experience, or you can ask for recommendation from your coach, or you can go online and search on Instagram, or make sure you use people that at least have always post on their page or that has a good number of followers, okay. But I would advise you go for recommendation, okay, or whoever that taught you mini importation, you can ask that person, for your coach, you can ask that person for recommendation. Some coaches said even if you do not train under them, they will be so glad to share their shipping company's contact with you. For example, I personally, I am not stingy with sharing shipping companies that I use, okay, as long as they are good. I like their service. I always like giving people referrals and reviews, right? But if you do not do well, I will also tell you. So that is just me. So I don't mind giving people shipping companies that I have good reviews with or that I've used before. So make sure you ask for shipping companies from your coach or whoever that you learned mini importation from, okay. Then the last mistake you should avoid is that the last mistake you should avoid is not asking questions. I believe that as a mini importer or the first timer in importation, it doesn't matter the country that you're importing from, I believe that you must have learned from someone, right? You learn from a coach, right? So always ask questions. Always ask your coach questions, your mini importation coach questions until your first item arrives, okay. Make sure, and okay, let me now say this for those that intend to learn or probably want to learn, like, okay, make sure you also look for a mini importation coach that will be able to guide you properly until your first item arrives, okay. This particular notice, right, is for those that that really that is looking for someone to teach them, right? But if actually you've learned already, like you're trying to import your first item, See, don't try to be like, okay, I've learned it, I know what I want to do, right? If you get confused in any way, go back to your coach, go back to your mini importation coach, the person you learned from, or wherever you got your knowledge from, for guide. Okay, if you have questions, anything at all, don't be shy, like don't be scared to ask questions. Ask questions. Okay, for example, some mini importation coaches, they have support group for their students, right? So if you are in a group like that, support group for mini importers like that, maybe your coach created one, always go back there to your group or whoever you can easily get that information from, to ask any questions at all. Is it from sourcing, payments, shipping, tracking number, anything, until your items arrive, like until you get you're able to get your package, the things you paid for. Okay, right? So make sure you always ask questions until your item arrive. This is particularly what I don't joke with my students, right? I make sure that I guide them, because I understand common mistakes. Like when I started my first import, when I started the first time, I knew mistakes I made, right? So I wouldn't want my students to make that type of mistake. So that is why whoever wants to register for my class, I always tell them that I will guide you. I will be there to always answer your questions until your first items arrives. Okay, this is what I do willingly for my students. So many importation coaches don't do that, but I do it because I know it is very, very important, right? Because I know first time something, you can be scared, you can be like anything, you can even make mistake that you don't know how to fall into, to come out of it. But with proper guideline and answers to some questions, you're able to avoid these mistakes. And that is why I always make sure that I guide my students. So when you make sure that whoever you learn communication from, always go to that person for questions, like any type of question at all. Wherever you're getting confused, don't be shy to ask questions. Okay, always ask questions and seek clarity in whatever you don't understand. Okay, so guys, this is it about the common mistakes that you can make as a first timer in importation. It doesn't matter any country you're importing from. So I hope you gain value, you learned something. And please, before you go, don't forget to give this video a like and also leave a comment in the comment section. Okay, give me a positive review in the comment section. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.